Shalom, WJC family. It's time for our weekly Torah Talk. This week in synagogue, we will be reading two Torah portions, Nitzavim and Vayelech, as the high holidays approach, and we, along with them, Sukkot, and eventually Simchat Torah. We are at very nearly the end of the Torah. Moses has been speaking for a long time. He's now coming to his big conclusion before he will, of course, pass away on Har Nebo, and the people will go into Israel. And just at this moment, as things are winding down, God appears in the tent of meeting and says, "Behold, you will lie with your forefathers, for this people will rise up and stray after the gods of the foreigners of the land, in whose midst it is coming, and it will forsake me," the people will forsake me, "and annul my covenant that I have sealed with it." Right? That they will, hefer et briti, annul the brit, right? The covenant, asher karati, that I made, the deal I struck, ito, with this people. Now, there's a lot of questions that this raises. First of all, Moses just finished this great big sermon whose goal was to convince the people not to stray, and God's telling Moses just before he's going to die, by the way, it didn't matter. They're going to stray after foreign gods. So, sorry. Doesn't seem so nice. Not exactly a menschy way to send off the former leader. So why does God feel the need to tell Moses this? Secondly, if God knows this, why is God sending the people into the land in the first place? Right? God is predicting their failure to stay connected to God and only God once they enter the land. So why go through all this work? What's the point? So the rabbis asked this question also because previously at the beginning of Moshe's speech, God says, you're a holy people and you're going to be okay. So now this seems to contradict it. So the question is raised, what's happening here? There's a lot of explanations. One rabbinic explanation is that this is related to the teaching in Pirkei Avot, Dan lechaf zchut, that you should judge somebody according to their merit, or in this case, maybe according to their lack of merit. In other words, because the people have already strayed down the path of idolatry, even though they came back, right, when they worshiped the golden calf, even though they came back, they are likely to stray in that way again. They are likely to sin through idolatry again. Right? So once you have made a certain mistake, that tends to be the mistake you will make again and again. Which raises a question for us. As the high holidays approach, we're about to do Teshuva and ask forgiveness for all of these things. Are we just doomed to repeat the things that we are trying to correct in our lives again and again? And the answer is maybe. Yeah, the truth is, and I think we're all aware of this, that we all have our consistent challenges, right? The places where we tend to go astray, the temptations that tend to affect us differently than they might someone else. The Musar rabbis, Alan Marinis, in Everyday Holiness, follows this path of Musar teaching, where he says everybody has their curriculum, right? The things that they have to work on. I might have a problem with patience. You might have a problem with humility. Another person with kindness and empathy. It doesn't mean that we can't correct that. It doesn't mean we can't do better in those things. But those are the areas where we will have to keep working again and again. So if we're doomed to repeat these things, why do we do tshuva? Why do we have the high holidays? If the people are doomed to commit idolatry again, why does God even let them into the promised land? What is God trying to say to Moses in this moment, if we assume that God isn't just taunting him? Hi, you're going to go die. Ha ha, this was all a waste of time. The answer is that God is explaining that it's okay. that God created us, that God knows our imperfections, that God knows our curriculum, our challenges, our tests in life that we need to overcome. And God gave us Teshuva, and God gave us these high holidays in order to encourage us to keep improving, to stop and recognize the places where we fall down time and again, and learn how to pick ourselves up and get back on a path towards making the world better, tikkun olam, towards bringing holiness, kedusha, into the world by making the world a place more representative of the love that God used to build it. That's what these high holidays are about. And it's a perfect reminder, as the high holidays approach, to read this in Nitzavim-Vayelech. God isn't saying, this was a waste of time, the people are going to stray, and therefore, I don't know why we're bothering. God is saying, this is not a waste of time, even though the people are going to stray and are likely to be tempted constantly by idolatry. Even so, I want to be in relationship with this people. I want to allow them to keep trying, that something about the consistent trying is actually redemptive, not only for us, but in God's interest as well. Right, a whole nother question. Why is God interested in our redemption? Why is God interested in this relationship? That's for another video. But for today, to understand that God is. And that's what the high holidays are about. Teshuva is not a symbol that we are doomed to failure and therefore God rejects us. It is a symbol that we are doomed to failure because we're imperfect, and that's how God created us. That's how God accepts us. And ultimately, at this time, that's why this is our moment to sort of renew the covenant that's broken and annulled, as our verse stated in Deuteronomy 31:16, that covenant may be broken and annulled, but we always have the opportunity to come back and to rekindle it. And this time of year, this moment, a week or so out from Rosh Hashanah, this is the time to think about our year past, to think about our consistent challenges, and to try and make a plan for how we are going to address them in this next year, in hopes that we do better, maybe not perfect, but better in the next year than we did in the year past. May we all have that kind of renewal of covenant. May we all have that kind of honest cheshbon hanefesh, honest reflection on our own personal curricula. And ultimately, may this high holiday season be a meaningful one. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom, L'Shana Tova Tikatevu, a happy and a healthy, or as I've been taught, a healthy and a happy New Year. Health always comes first. A healthy and a happy New Year, and only good things and redemption in the year to come.